Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another review. This time around, we're here with Bandai Namco's Gundam Breaker 4. So in Gundam Breaker 4, as an aspiring Gunpla hobbyist, players will be able to mesh together their own mecha creations by using parts from more than 250 iconic mobile suits from throughout the Gundam series, and then test their creations on a virtual battlefield with up to 3 players in co-op multiplayer. So, Gundam Breaker. This is the first Gundam Breaker title that I have played, and from what it seems, this is the first numbered Gundam Breaker title as well. There have been Gundam Breaker titles that have released before in the past, with I think the latest was New Gundam Breaker. But in this game, I will say this game features great gameplay, fast-paced mechanics, and real cool aspects if you like Gundam, or if you're like a classic Gundam fan like I am. I think that you will really find some type of good value out of this game. If you're kind of on the fence about it, I don't know if this game is for you. So let's go ahead and get down into this review. So usually around the beginning of the reviews, I talk about the story aspect of the game, but I have to say, in this game, the story is somewhat more of like a filler aspect. So as I said, you play as a Gunpla hobbyist, and in this game, you're basically a player of an online game called Gunpla Battle. And so you get into this virtual world, and on this virtual battlefield you meet certain players, form a team, and then take on other Gunpla players. So it's a cool concept to things, and it kind of, if anything, it kind of makes you realize that the story is really not the highlight of this game. What is the highlight of this game is the fast-paced gameplay that is available, and many other aspects of this game. So it's crazy to say that. It really is, because most of the times, you know, with these games, we're talking about how the story really pulled us in and stuff, but I can't really say that the story pulled me in. It was more kind of like a fluff story. It was something that it felt like something, the story kind of felt like, the way it was laid out, it felt like some type of anime that I would like randomly click on Netflix and watch, you know, and that's not a bad thing. It's not that it was a horrible story. You know, you did have some type of connection to characters like Toei and Lillian and a few other characters that you meet down the road as they're facing off against these other players in this virtual battlefield. But one thing that is apparent is that Bandai Namco knew their niche of fans that are going to play this game, and they wanted to improve upon it as much as possible. So I will say from that point, what is interesting about this game is the great gameplay. It is very fun, fast-paced, button mashing action from start to finish. You know, you can use your sabers, guns, and much more. And as you're taking on other Gunpla or Gundam mobile suits in these battle modes, you're actually able to pick up their parts. And when you shoot these parts, they break off, and then you can actually pick them up and add them to your collection, and then customize your Gunpla to your liking. So you can actually merge a bunch of these parts together to make the level of certain parts higher. And also, as I said, you know, you can pick up all different types of badass weapons, like sabers, dual sabers, giant knives, all different types of stuff, axes. And then in the gun aspect, you can pick up rail guns, big, you know, long range rifles, machine guns, you know, kind of like shotgun-esque things. I mean, It's really honestly endless, and it's the most mobile suits they have had in one of these Gundam Breaker games. So there's a total of 250 mobile suits that are in this game that you can literally blow the parts off of from enemies that you have to face, and then merge them into your own Gundam. You know, like I changed my Gundam slowly but surely as I was playing the game, made him kind of how I felt was badass looking. But you can have, you know, angel wings, you can have, you know, these laser sabers, you can have dual saber. And another thing too is that you can dual wield weapons while you're playing. So there was a lot of times I was really able to kind of get the combo aspect down. I was able to use my sub weapons and much more. There's also a mode in the game, a kind of berserker mode called Awakening, and whenever you go into that, you could choose 4 different types of awakening to where your speed is increased, your health is increased, or your stamina, whatever. I usually always chose the increased melee attacks. So when I went into berserker mode, I was able to just like beat the living crap out of some of these giant Gundams and take them out pretty quickly, actually. So another cool thing about this game too is that as you're playing these games, you kind of run into, I think each level that you run into, there's like 3 waves, and sometimes, you know, they kind of get a little extensive, but then you have these boss battles, and these boss battles are really, really cool. I mean, you're facing off against Gundams that are, or Gunplas that are like triple or quadruple your size. Sometimes you have to face off against 2 to 3 at one time, and I mean, it was really, really crazy and intense and pretty damn fun. I had a lot of fun with this game. That's the big thing about it, is it's not that it is a bad game, and it's not that the story is just so bad it pulls you out of the experience, because I don't really feel that it did. I just feel like a lot of the story was there just to kind of fluff it up. You know, a lot of the story was not really, I don't know. I'm a classic Gundam fan. So, you know, back in the day, whenever I was like 7 or 8, I remember, I think I was about 8, maybe 9. I don't know. But I remember going to the store one time and I got a Gundam figure, and I thought it was like the coolest thing. And I remember we lived, you know, in this area of Texas that, you know, had a lot of sand and stuff. And I remember going outside, playing with my Gundams in the sand and how cool it was or whatever. But what I thought was awesome is I would like get those Gundams and like shove them down in the sand and make them like look at like they're shooting at each other. And I would get these disposable cameras and like take pictures of them. And I remember when I got that disposable camera developed, I was like, oh my God, man, it's just like the anime. I thought it was so cool. But that's one thing that is really featured in this game, is a brand new feature to where you can actually make dioramas like in the game, set up with like special effects, you know, different backgrounds and all this. You can have Gunplas like facing off against each other. It's a really, really cool thing. You can customize every aspect of the paint, the decals, you know, whatever you want to do, and make your own scene play out right there in front of you. Share the stuff online, and it's really cool. Now, the one thing I did not really get to play in this mode is actual online. So I got the game sometime last week, and the servers have not been online, so I haven't been able to really play with anybody online. But I will say, for the story mode, it does feature good enough aspects of you playing with, you know, other AI characters, facing off against, you know, anywhere between 3 to like sometimes, you know, 20 something to 30 something different, you know, enemies that you have to face off against. And the AI is pretty responsive. So there was a couple of times that I ran into some bosses that kind of got me down, and my health was really low. I was about to die, and I actually got revived a couple of times. But as you add things to your Gunpla, you know, you have new abilities as well in these modes that can actually help you in game to where you won't have to be revived. One of the ones that I was able to get is like I basically was able to consistently upgrade my health throughout the match. Like I would just push L1 square or L2 square. I can't remember the button combination, but I would push, these couple of buttons, and I was able to, max my health back out, and at times it kind of felt a little like I was cheating, but at the same time, like it made the battles that much more intense, and because I would have to look at those constantly, especially in the boss battles. There's a lot of times that some of these bosses did big enough damage to you while you're playing that they could shoot you a couple of times and your health is pretty much down like 60 to 70%. But as I said, this game is a good game. It has some great graphical presentation. I think that Bandai Namco knew exactly what they were doing with this game and really making this game all for the Gunpla and Gundam fans out there. If you're a big Gundam fan, you are going to very much like this game. As I said, you could literally customize your character more than you've ever been able to do in a Gundam Breaker game. I customized my character a lot. I added not only parts that I found from enemies that I downed in the game, but I also added, different parts. Like you could pick up different plastics. You could sell parts and use those plastics to, build your own character. And there's also different things that you can buy in the shop as well. I'm sure the shop is going to be a lot more expansive whenever the game's online mode comes out. But there is some really cool stuff about this game that does make it fun. It's the unique combat. It's the unique aspect of being able to build your own diorama like in the game. I thought that was really, really cool, especially for Gundam fans. And the customization is really nuts. You can customize it however you want to. You can make the helmets as big as you want, the arms as big as you want. You could literally change the size of different parts that you have found throughout the game. But the one thing that kind of held me back from overly enjoying the game was the story of the game. There's a lot of times that it just, like I said, it felt like fluff. It didn't really feel like anything that was just like really pulling me in to care about these characters that were introduced to me. They just kind of seemed like, random people that you were playing with, and I guess maybe that's where they were going with it, but the story is somewhat lackluster and kind of weak at times, and it doesn't really pull you into the world. Now, the one thing, as I said, that does pull you in and just really grasp you is the fast-paced gameplay. For some people, it could get repetitive as they play because you face off against somewhat of the same characters kind of here and there. But the great thing about it is as you level up and as you play, you face off against some really great bosses that really kind of push you to your limit and make you think, like, as you're playing and as you're picking these parts up, it's best to go ahead and upgrade as much as you possibly can, merge these parts together, make the level and damage of your weapons as high as possible before you get into these boss battles, because I'm telling you, there was a couple of times that I got into some of these boss battles early on, and I had weapons that did not do enough damage at all. So overall, Gundam Breakers 4 is a good game. Though it has a lackluster story, I think a lot of Gundam fans will enjoy this game when it launches on August 28th. I am going to give this game a 3.5 out of 5. That is a good score. I think that this game still has some really great things coming towards it. And as more comes to this game over time, we'll revisit it and share it with you all. So please make sure to check us out at Cinelinks.com for some of the latest and greatest geek news, movie news, and gaming news. Great content and great content creators right over at Cinelinks. I love you guys so much. Thank you, Bandai Namco, for letting us check this game out. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.